Okay, so here we are live once again with another Master Universe Origins unboxing, and this is Hurricane Hordak, the ruthless leader of the evil Horde. You know, it could have been the evil leader of the ruthless Horde, but that was the decision that was made. Let's go ahead and open them up. This is just the mailer box. Usually I open up the mailer boxes already, but I hadn't gotten around to it with this guy, so you get a bonus unboxing of a box. So there we go. There's the mailer box open. Let's go ahead and get that out of there. Hurricane Hordak. There's a little spacer in there, but that's the only other thing that's in there. So got a tab at the top with the artwork of Hordak rushing into battle with his whirling battle blade and He-Man down below. And it says ruthless leader with the wicked whirling weapons, and you can see it comes with a bonus head. That's the head that was from one of the earlier designs. Dang it, I meant to get that figure and bring that over here. Hopefully he's where I can get him easily since I forgot. I know it's somewhere around here. Just hang tight. We're going to have it for you in just a moment. No, I don't see it around here anywhere. I could have sworn it was over here somewhere on this side of the room, but it looks like not. So we're just going to have to do that another time. How frustrating. Well, it happens. Sorry, folks. I was going to try to put the head of this onto the sketchbook figure and see how that looked, but I don't know where that one went to. So we're just going to have to, I'll do a short or something later on. But you can see he's got that shiny chrome breastplate. The only real point, I think, in doing this figure is to give him a shiny chrome breastplate. Because honestly, you could just give any Hordak figure like extra limbs, and I think that would be fine. Even the Masters Universe Classics version, which avoided chrome parts like the plague, even their Hurricane Hordak had a chrome breastplate. So here he is on the back, again, rushing into battle with one of his spinny weapons. He's got the prototype head on there. And let's see, there's what's her face down, Despara, and some other crazy looking hordemen down there, and Dragstore over there. So I'm guessing Dragstore is one that we'll see eventually. You got this creature perched on the tree in the fright zone. Lots of little gargoyles crawling around. Let's go ahead and open them up. It says modern posing for retro play, collector edition, robot arm, spins interchangeable weapons. Got the Horde sticker right there. There's no instructions on the box or cross sell or anything like that. They tend to do that with these Mattel Creations exclusives, as they like to use the packaging to show off more artwork. But you do get a little bit of instruction there. So that's nice. Him displayed with all of the weapons and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and get him opened up. Sorry, it's still early in the morning for me. At almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there's this battle blade thing and this whirling mace and this propeller, which is where I imagine they got the idea for the Hurricane moniker, because it does look kind of like a big fan like it could actually cause a legitimate hurricane. But honestly, the hurricane nickname kind of makes me think of like a boxer or something. So maybe you should come with some big boxer gloves. There's the battle blade. And of course, anybody who remembers the She-Ra cartoon series remembers that on that one, Hordak was like a biomechanical creature and could, basically create, you know, transform his body into various weapons and stuff like that. So we can see the sketch head, the prototype head, the original design head, whatever you want to call that, and it does look really cool. Like the original, not original, but the early design of Hordak that used his head, I always felt like it had a little bit more of a punk rock feel to it with the spikes and everything. And you can see that the ears are a bit more pointy than we're used to Hordak's head. Meaning this isn't the original Hordak head. This is the not even the standard Origins Hordak figure. This is the Buzzsaw Hordak. I was never able to find the standard one, but it looks enough like the vintage head that you can see the difference. And I imagine a lot of the differences with this figure were made because of uh, limitations of molding technology at the time. And you can see they've had a lot of leaps forward, so they're able to get closer to that early design of the Hordak head. They can have all the spikes and the pointy ears and everything like that. And they're all really soft, so kids don't have to worry about tripping and falling on one and poking out their eyeball. So that's nice. And then Hordak's last accessory is the actual, oops, grab the figure. Oh, there's a comic book too. That's nice. So we'll read the comic book. So this thing should plug on in place of his actual hand, and then we can rotate the weapons. So let's go ahead and have a look at the comic book before we do anything else. And there is some nice artwork on this comic book. Hordak is prominently. Unfortunately, it got kind of mashed up a little bit because of how it was in the packaging. They did not take a lot of care in how they inserted this into the packaging. But it says Eye of the Storm, which makes sense because it's Hurricane Hordak, but you have Hordak up here wailing, screaming, yelling, growling, whatever you want to call it, He-Man and his fellow heroic warriors. Down at the bottom, we've got Man-at-Arms, Tila, Orko, the usual suspects as far as that's concerned. And then guys that would have been in the line around the time that Hurricane Hordak came out in the original line, you got Cyclone and Clamp Champ. So some of the core characters, the earliest characters, and then some of the later characters. So it's a good mix, I think. And the artwork in this is really good. It's very moody. Like, look at that. That's really cool. I'm used to good artwork in these comics, but this one has such a unique flavor to it. I'm really enjoying it. And you thought I wasn't going to have a special 4th of July episode because I'm just talking about Hurricane Hordak, but we got fireworks going off at Castle Grayskull. So a little bit of a 4th of July nod there. If only I could have planned it better, maybe I could have figured out a patriotic figure to have. Last year, you might remember I opened up that vintage Toy Biz Captain America figure for 4th of July. So if you want some patriotic content from me, just go back and rewatch that one. But it says, in the days following Hordak's exile to Despondos, there were countless celebrations across Eternia, as dramatized in the Horde invasion saga, until cold winds followed by black shadows crept across the land, and a sinister foreboding stirred in the hearts of all folk. Shadow was followed by piercing crimson light that shone from beyond, as if the horizon itself bled. The hell light grew in intensity, in searing intensity, until it revealed the coming storm. And we see Hordak's eyes glowing sinisterly in the sky. And then the image of the sorceress appears before He-Man and says, "Masters, the battle against Hordak is not over. Though exiled to Despondos by Skeletor and She-Ra Through cunning, he was able to negotiate one last effort back to our domain, as unfolded in the mini-comic Final Fright. Have I read that one? I don't remember if I read that one. Was that the last one that I wrote? Was it this one? No, that's future tense. Who knows? Tell me, sorceress, how do warriors battle such a storm? You must enter the heart of the tempest. There you shall meet the sinister storm maker, whom you must vanquish for once and for all. And it shows this mysterious figure standing down there with a spinning propeller on his arm, laughing maniacally. Okay. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. So you see He-Man and Clamp Champ, Teela, and Man-at-Arms flying into action on their jet sleds. I think that was what that vehicle is called. And Cyclone is flying along beside, but he doesn't need a vehicle. And it says, taking to the bloodied skies, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe rushed into the maelstrom. And then Clamp Champ says, we go where the sane flee. And then He-Man says, such is the nature of bravery. And Teela says, bravery? And then Man-at-Arms says, or stupidity. And then He-Man says, brace yourselves, we're entering the threshold. And it says, the champions are tossed into the windstorm, ragdolls in the thrush, and then a full page splash of Cyclone saying, matching the speed of the Twister at hundreds of miles per hour, Cyclone swirls in the opposite direction, neutralizing it, revealing the maestro of the maelstrom. That's some good wordplay there. And it's Hordak. Gasp. He's wearing his gold armor, and he's got the prototype head on there, and it says, welcome to the eye of the storm, masters. Just, they're heroic warriors. Just say heroic warriors. They're not. It's not a superhero team name like the Avengers. It shouldn't be anyway. I never like it when they do that. When I was vanquished to Despondos, I was able to make one final deal. This isn't a mere storm that I control, but a bridge between realms. I shall create a permanent rift between Eternia and Despondos, merging the planes. Exile shall become my homecoming. And then Cyclone says, when will you get it? You're not welcome here. And then, as if the positive forces of Eternia meet the negative evil of Despondos, powerful energy is released. Crackoom! And then He-Man shields his eyes from the blinding light of the storm. And Clamp Champ says, where's Hordak? And then Hordak says, here, living in your nightmare. Clang! His whirling blade smashes into He-Man's sword of power. And then He-Man says, surrender, it's over. And then Clamp Champ says, take a hint, take a hike. And then, snapping his fingers, Hordak transforms and takes flight. So he transforms into like a bat creature. With every fiber of my being, I shall haunt you for eternity. Wow, okay. And with a bolt of lightning, Hordak is once again vanquished to the shadow prison of Despondos. And then Orko says, sorry I'm late. I was waiting for the weather to improve. Womp womp. So I guess Hordak got to be the Deus Ex Machina there. So not a bad comic. The artwork is really good. I think the story probably could have been a little better, but you know, for you know, let's face it, it's a tie-in comic that's packed in with a toy. So you know, it ain't gonna be Watchmen, folks. But it was still a pretty fun read. I had fun reading it. I hope you had fun listening to me reading it. And man, did they put the rubber tabs at like the most annoying spots at the wrists. So I really don't want to try to scratch the paint on those. And it's difficult to grasp them from the back. Ugh. Hate these things. That one just pulled out anyway. So, oh well, I got this back here. I might as well get this. Holding the last accessory in there. All right, and then we can pull Hordak out. Now, this Hordak, the figure that's on here, is very much that vintage head. Like I said, I had the smiling head on my Buzzsaw Hordak. But this one does come with the more standard looking head on it, where he's all browny. So pop that back on there. We can have a look. So there's what he looks like out of the package. There's that last, that's the mace. And go ahead and pop the sketchbook head on there, for lack of a better term. And there he is with that on there. So that's what that looks like. Does not have a collar to add on there. Lone Dragon is here. Lone Dragon says, and then Fisto says, I'm going to fist him good. Yeah, it would have been nice to see Fisto. Fisto hasn't been in that many comics, unfortunately. So I'd like to see him. I like Fisto. Anyway, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this figure, since we already got him out. So Hordak can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders and raise up to the sides about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, bends in about that far, rotates all the way around. And he does have an armband over on this arm. Not on both arms like on the cartoon, just one. And then the wrists rotate all the way around and then have a horizontal hinge so they can move back and forth like so. Hordak can turn all the way around at the waist. He can kick up about that far, which is not too far, but these figures, you know, they're kind of muscle bound. They're based on the original sculpts for the Masters Universe line back in the 80s. Single joint of articulation at the knee that bends about that far and rotates all the way around. And then he's got a boot cut that rotates all the way around. His foot can point down about that far, point up about that far, and of course the foot rotates all the way around. All right, so that's it for the articulation. He's got like a very shiny, very dark gold chrome breastplate. And if I remember correctly, the original Hurricane Hordak, the breastplate was just kind of molded to the chest, like with Flying Fist, He-Man, and Terror Claws Skeletor, which he was like the counterpart for those. And nice shiny chrome. You see, it's got more of a deep V cut that Hordak usually has. So yeah, I like the color of it. Like, gold might seem like a slightly ostentatious color for Hordak. You're used to seeing him in black, but I think that kind of dark gold looks really good. I'm guessing that they probably did him and Hero at the same time, so it does seem like the same sort of electro plating that Hero had, that same kind of color. So let's go ahead and, excuse me, since he is Hurricane Hordak, and go ahead and talk about the things that make him into Hurricane Hordak, which are these extra accessories. So there's a little wheel right there, and that's what's probably gonna, I'm sure, cause the spinning. Now, the original figure just had like a solid straight arm that all this stuff fit onto, but you know, with classics, they try to, with Origins, they try to stick with that articulation and the swappable parts as best they could. Maybe it would have made sense to have a whole arm that swaps out, but in this case, he didn't. He's got just this kind of device that fits onto the forearm, but you can see it spins quite nicely when you roll that little wheel there. So there's the mace, and it keeps spinning, so that's good. It kind of freewheels. I like that. And then the battle blade. So we'll go ahead and put that on there. That looks really cool. I like that. And Lone Dragon says his name is Hurricane Hordak. Haha, that's stupid. Yeah, well, you know, it was the 80s, man. It was the 80s, and all these, most of these figures had pretty goofy names. So Hordak actually isn't that goofy of a name. You know, like it sounds like kind of a supervillain name, but but you know, it's and there's the actual hurricane propeller that makes him into Hurricane Hordak. So pretty cool figure. Like I said, I was never able to get the standard Origins Hordak figure, but I did have a few of the other ones. I had Buzzsaw Hordak, which looks pretty much like the regular one. Jose is here, Jose Membrane, and he says, "Hi, Alan." Well, hi right back, Jose. Good to see you. And but yeah, this one looks pretty much the same as the standard Hordak. So I kind of felt like, even though I was never able to find the standard Hordak, I kind of felt like this one was close enough. This one obviously is a variant, and he's going to have some differences. But yeah, like I kind of feel like even though when I take the thumbnail, I'm going to leave this head on there because I feel like it's one of the more unique aspects of the figure. But when I display him, I'm going to pop this head back on there, and I'm going to save this one for the sketchbook figure when I can find what I did with that. Pop that on there because I think that one will look really cool on that particular body. And plus, then the Lone Dragon says the Hordak part is fine. Hurricane Skeletor would have been just as lame. I would argue Hurricane Skeletor would be even lamer because there's no alliteration there. So at least Hurricane Hordak has the excuse of he was trying to have some alliteration. It'd have to be like I don't know what's a tsunami Skeletor, and that's more of a big wave than but it have to be something like that. And even that's not technically alliteration because tsunami starts with a silent T, but at least phonetically it's alliterative. So yeah, but yeah, Buzzsaw Hordak is kind of one of those things where it's just kind of like does exactly what it says on the tin, because all he's got is like he's just got a buzzsaw that pops out of his chest, which you can see I got that embedded in there. So but yeah, so that's pretty much it for Hurricane Hordak. I hope you enjoyed it. This is probably the shortest one that I've done for Origins, actually, which is weird because he's got a lot of stuff to talk about, but I went over all of it. It was stuff I didn't really have to spend that much time talking about. But next episode's gonna be a big one because next episode's when I'm gonna have this bad boy to open up, the Battle for Eternia, and it's got 4 figures in it with the Paragon Champion, the Skell Knight, the Horde Revenant, and the Pit Warden. So 1 member each of the 4 main factions of Eternia, with the Heroic Warriors, the Evil Warriors, the Evil Horde, and the Snake Men. You've got the Evil Warriors, and that says, that says it all right there. They're evil warriors. And then you have the evil horde. Well, they're a horde that's evil. They're not the evil snake men. They're just the snake men. Do they figure just being snake men is nasty enough that they don't have to specify that they're evil? But yeah, that's going to be the next episode, and it's going to be a big one. So I'm going to open up 4 of these guys. That's 4 action figures. So that's going to be a big episode, and that's going to be the next one. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that one, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I tell you to like and subscribe, so please make sure that you like and subscribe. If I say that enough times, maybe YouTube will send a few more people my way. And if YouTube sends a few more people my way to like and subscribe, and they like and subscribe, then YouTube will like that, because YouTube likes it when you like and subscribe. YouTube likes it when you subscribe and like and all that fun stuff. So we'll get this in there. There we go. So I can just take this and toss it in the recycling later. There we go. So that's done. He's a cool figure. I'm happy with him. So and I wasn't sure if I wanted another variant of Hordak, because I do have a few, like I said. I think the original Hordak is the only one that I'm lacking in this in the Origins line, oddly enough. But he's pretty neat looking, isn't he? I'm very happy with that. All right, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. Bye.